Well, I'm so excited to be able to bang the gavel, man. I'm going to call us to order here for the April 8th meeting of the Yellow Spring School Board, a regular school board meeting where we assemble to do the business that needs to be done each month. We're back in the Mills Lawn Gymnasium cafeteria, which is very exciting. We're also happy to be able to welcome visitors, though at appropriate spacing and whatnot, as we transition back into a normal kind of post-COVID world, which we will get to eventually. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So the first thing I need to do is to call us to order and have Tammy call the roll, please.
Khan.
Here.
Mohammed.
Here.
Ellison.
Here.
McQueen.
Here.
Turner.
Here. And welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. The next item is to approve the minutes from our last board meeting. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved. Second. Third. Whatever.
Any corrections, edits, additions? Call the roll, please.
Khan.
Yes.
Mohammed.
Yes.
Ellison.
Yes.
McQueen.
Yes.
Turner.
Section 2 in our agenda are communications. We'll acknowledge communications that we have received. Community comments, we are now, as I mentioned just a moment ago, we're able to invite at least a limited number of members of the public into our meetings, but I think, are we still able to do comments we are not able to do comments via YouTube this evening. Okay, so we will move on to administrative reports. Item 2.3, and Michelle, why don't you take us away?
Or I will say we're going to try to do a projection up here.
Oh, okay. Oh,
How about that?
and Thomas, you going to swing the camera over that way? Oh, that's kind of fun.
So the first day, full day inspection was this Monday. Yeah, it was an amazing day. It was great to have the students in the building, see a couple of snippets of them walking on their paw prints, and then also of them repurposing our library to use their chairs as seats, because desks are too cumbersome and it makes them have to sit too close together. So we have gotten creative. And again, we're only in the first week, but it's going really, really well. I mean, smoother than I think anybody could ever have expected. I mean, the kids are really excited to be back in the building, and we've had it's been great. It's been a great week. The parent-teacher conferences were held last month. It was a great opportunity for parents to come into the building, meet teachers, and see classrooms prior to our in-person return. I think honestly that had a lot to do with the level of comfort. They were able to and we had, people were able to come into the building, meet their child's teacher, see the classroom, ask questions, and I think that had a lot to do with why this return has been so seamless. Our older students took part in student-led conferencing, which were awesome. They prepared presentations for their parents around their successes, their challenges, and their most enjoyable experiences for this year. So there's an example here that I included. You can't click it. Okay. I don't even, Ryan would have to give me access because it was on his drive. So it was an experience day. There was a script, and they had to sit with their parents with their portfolio, and they had to talk about the challenges of 6th grade, where they were at the beginning, where they were now, whether or not they thought they were ready for 7th grade, what they had for each subject, something that they were proud of and something they struggled with. And it was for each subject. And this particular one was really, it's always fun to me to watch kids when they put together their own things and how savvy they are. Hers had some amazing memes and some really funny pictures and just little anecdotes about what it was like at the beginning of the pandemic, what life is like now. There was this really cute picture of a dog like at the beginning that looked like completely stressed out with like hair sticking everywhere. So I'm not doing it justice, but yeah, they did a really good job and they were amazing to watch. The bike hike. Dan Kerrigan was a member of the YS community who was extremely involved in our annual bike hikes. He passed away in January of this year, so Allison Hawker, who pretty much runs the bike hikes at our school, is suggesting that we rename them in his honor. This year's hike will take place on May 5th. and we will continue to partner with the YS first responders. And you can see there that the first ones, the third graders are going to go May 5th from 9 to 11. So that's what was on the report. I'm adding another note to the report. I was going to talk about this more next month, but since the Yellow Springs News has decided that it is newsworthy, I will not be returning next year as the principal of Mills Lawn. I gave my resignation to Terry last week. It's been an amazing year, even in a pandemic. I've learned, I've met a lot of great people. I enjoyed my time. For personal reasons, family reasons, I decided that my family and I are going to go on a different path. But I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to helping close out this year and sending everybody strong into 2021-22.
Thanks for that, Michelle. And yes, if we don't accept the letter, we may not let you resign. But I appreciate you letting us know that and announcing that here at our meeting. I wonder, I'm looking at both of you, I don't want to put either of you on the spot, but has there been any discussion of 6th grade flap out yet? Or do you think that's a possibility with the right distance?
Yes.
Yes?
It is.
Okay.
We have not discussed it, but I'm sure teachers have discussed it with Michelle.
Yeah.
It was such a fantastic experience last year that I would love for us to do again. You know, ODE just yesterday, I think, pushed out guidance on, guess what, prom and graduation. So, you know,
Yeah.
as if it's not April 7th yesterday.
Right.
So I'm going to let Michelle speak, but I would certainly support that, and I suspect the teachers felt, as I did, that it was a tremendous experience last year.
Yeah.
They said nothing but great things about it. Jody and Ryan are the people that I will be coordinating it with, but yes, we will have more details for that.
Well, I also just want to add, thank you and thank everybody in the building for making this first week successful, because I think, yeah, we were all a little bit, how's this going to go? And I have also only heard really enthusiastic things about coming back this week, so I'm really pleased about that. Thank you to everybody that made that possible. Anybody else for?
Well, I guess I just want to say I feel like I didn't have the opportunity to really get to know you, Michelle, because of this strange year. But I really wish you well, and I know you made a big move from Northern Ohio to be here, and I hope whatever your path is will be, you know, bring you happiness and success and all of that.
Thank you so much.
Here, here. Jack?
All right, thank you. As Michelle said, we started back 100% this week. It's gone amazingly well. We have always had classes outside, but I've never seen it like it's been this first week. And I mean, we have the big tent in front of the school, and it's not unusual for us to have 4 classes kind of out around that tent, some under the tent. And then with the advisory period, just to see our kids connecting with their teachers and see different advisories, playing kickball against each other, just the kind of the energy and the tone. And I mean, it feels like the first week of school. Like it really does. Like there's just a positivity and an excitement. All the planning that went into it is paying off. I mean, everything is going more smoothly. I mean, we anticipated it would go smoothly, but I mean, it's exceeding our expectations, and it's just so great to have them back in the building. On my report was seeing we are planning for our seniors, so I don't want to lose sight that our seniors lost the end of their junior year. So there are things that they lost last year that if they don't get this year, they just won't get. So prom is one. So we're really into planning for them. We started last week with the senior skate night. So Miss Lomeyer has the roller skates in for our PE kids. So we had a senior-only skate night where they came in, and we ordered pizza, and then pizza in the courtyard. And it was just a bunch of kids laughing and giggling and reminiscing about 13 years of school and going in and skating. And they closed it down. They stayed until the very last minute. And when they were tired of skating, they were out dancing in the middle of the gym floor, 10 feet apart. Like, they just had a great time the entire time. So with prom, we're looking at May 15th out at the New York Pavilion. So we are really trying to partner with local resources. We want prom to be free. So for a couple of reasons. One, we want everybody to have access. And two, we don't want anyone to buy a ticket and then have COVID symptoms and feel forced to go because they've already bought a ticket. So if it's free, they don't have that same investment. So we also are not going to have it necessarily be a formal event. So it can be formal. If people want to dress up, that's great. But we don't want families to feel that commitment that they have to go out and buy an expensive dress or rent a tux or whatever else. Just for the same reason, you know, there's so much unknown. So we're having it outside. Stacy Weary is partnering with our class advisors, and we're going to have food trucks. So students will be able to, if they want, be able to purchase food there. And then the entertainment's all going to be provided for free as well. So we've got a DJ that's going to be coming for free. So we're very excited about prom. And in graduation, you'll see it's going to be kind of a blend of the traditional with what we did last year. So we are anticipating being able to have more people there than we did last year. We are going to have all the speakers be live. However, we're still going to have the big screen with the sound system that we had last year. It's going to be more of a picnic style, kind of in the grass field behind the shoebox. So we're staying away from the stadium because we're not sure how the track project's going to evolve. And then we're planning on painting a large grid in the grass field, and then each senior will have a space for their family. And then we're going to invite the seniors in to personalize their space, and we can fly a drone over and take pictures of their personalized space. And then Thomas will be able to have a camera right on the speakers, and we can project out on the large screen. We can have our traditional senior video. And then another piece that we did last year was we really involved families more than we have in the traditional ceremony. And that's something I'm going to carry forward, where the parents and family members still get to be more of a part of the ceremony as opposed to just sitting away from the seniors. So very excited about that. And then the last thing I want to report on is just the French Cafe. So this past weekend, the farmers market opened up here in town. Our students brought their baked goods and sold out in the first 2 hours, raised $200. And they're already planning to have more students baked in for this upcoming weekend. In a good year, we raise about $1,200 for the Vietnam school. So for us to raise $200 and sell out in 2 hours, we actually think we'll be able to scholarship more kids this year than we ever have before. So exciting stuff.
Great. Yeah, I miss French cafes here. You know, that's something I always look forward to. So I'll try to get down there early for the pastry.
Can I just ask a question about the kids that didn't get to do the ride?
Into the Wild?
Yeah, Into the Wild. Is there something
There is an Into the Wild this year. It's going to be day trips only, and it's going to be at a Agraria.
Oh.
So we're partnering with Agraria. So there's still a cycling component. It's not the long trip, and there's no overnight component to it.
Okay.
But it is still getting our kids out on bicycles, interacting with nature. So a little different, but still a good experience.
Great, great.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Anything else for Jack?
I feel like it's nice that thinking that's gone into keeping some of the aspects of last year's graduation that seemed like this crazy temporary thing that needed to be done because of the pandemic, but that actually ended up being so wonderful that we would like to keep them.
And the parade is coming, the parade will be back. So we have that all figured out already. We will start with that.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent.
Well, I guess I just want to thank you both for your flexibility and being quickly on your feet, getting all of this together. I really can't imagine how you and your staff, all of you have been able to do this. I mean, it has been quite time, and I'm not sure there's enough ways to thank you all for taking such good care of the kids in our community and beyond. So.
Excellent. Donna, Student Services?
I wanted to give you an update on Gifted. When I did my report in September, I had said that Gifted would be an area of focus this year because all school districts are required to identify in Ohio gifted students in any category of gifted, but they're not required to serve. And although our teachers work with those kids, there's certain criteria to be considered serving by the state of Ohio. And so we really wanted to move towards that. And I can mention, right now we have about 106 students that qualify under the category.
Sorry, could you repeat that number?
106.
106, sorry, I got swallowed in the mask.
Sorry, yeah, I'm a little muffled. And that does not count, we just did 5th grade screening, and 2nd grade screening will be in the beginning of May, and so we'll probably add a few more to that. So I think we have a numbers definitely that is something that we should look into, and the community is interested in having some official services. So that was something we wanted to focus on. And so I wanted to give you a quick update over the course of the year, what we did. And the bullet points on the report that I have shows just the basic 4 criteria. You have to have a properly credentialed person, a gifted intervention specialist license, either as a coordinator or as a teacher, to consult or serve the kids directly. If they're consulting with a teacher to provide the services, that teacher has to have 15 hours of professional development each year, calendar year, for 4 years, and then it's district determined. They're receiving. That's a lot of hours of, with all the other areas that teachers are prepared in. And then we have to plan, and that's why it's so timely to talk about this now in our district. You have to plan for next year what kind of services you're going to provide, whether you're going to pull kids out and do a little group, you're going to push some services in, have a gifted intervention specialist go in. Acceleration doesn't necessarily have to be a gifted service, it can be with the plan, or cluster grouping kids in certain classrooms. And if you cluster group and you have some consultation from someone who has a gifted intervention specialist license, that would be a great way to start the program. And we do have 2 folks, Kenny Moore, who is our gifted coordinator from Green County ESC. He's with us 30 days a year, and he would love to be able to help us out doing some of that consultation with some of the teachers at the middle school, high school. And we have Megan Bennett, who is 3rd grade teacher, but also does consultation. Both of them are interested in doing some consultation, and if logistics work out, doing maybe a small group for superior cognitive, working, some extra problem-solving skills in there. So the other piece was having the hours, starting to get those annual hours and tracking them for professional development. And we were able, with some of our grant money, to send 6 teachers to a virtual training, and they were either able to do it on 2 days of live sessions or get the hours by, there was a certain time frame that they have to watch the webinars and answer a question on each of those webinars to get the credit. And so I listed out, it's Alicia Horvath, Brandon Lowry, Deanne Hawley, Chelsea Early, Jennifer Scavone, and Casa Sims. And we went ahead and just opened it up to ask teachers who are interested or who thought they would have the time to do this, because we were just wanting to see, we didn't want to put too much on teachers this year because they had so much on them, and they right away were interested. But due to that, we'll be able, depending on how we want to work out the logistics and the scheduling for next year, we have the potential to be able to help to have some services in 1st grade, 3rd grade, 8th grade algebra, high school math, and of course the sciences. And AP classes are a little bit different with the training, but that can count as well. So that was more than, I think that was the piece I was most worried about, trying to start getting the training in. Now we'll just have to keep that up for those teachers and expand. And of course, upper elementary and some more elementary teachers, middle school would be the next target to get that professional development going. And some of that professional development can be provided by Kenny and Megan. And they have some ideas for a book study and training on WEPs, which is a written education plan, another piece you have to have in place for it actually to be a gifted service. So I feel like we kind of hit all the basics we need. So we have that foundation we wanted in order for us to move forward and grow actual gifted services that are counted by the state. And I think some of the teachers provide a lot of service and a lot of planning with Megan, especially at the salon, that would easily count if they have a professional development and they have a written plan. So they're already doing some of that work. So I was proud that we got to that point for the community.
Yeah, this is great. I will confess, now remember that this was something we needed to attend to, we were going to attend to, but I had forgotten in the midst of everything else. So thank you so much for working on this. And this looks very promising indeed. Yeah, this seems like a really great start. Anybody else for? Thank you. Thank you to all three of you. We'll move to item 3, our treasurer's report and recommendation, and the 3.1, our financial report.
This is as of March 31st, 2021. And I just want to go over some highlights and basically say that the revenues are coming in ahead of projections, which is good. We really weren't sure what was going to happen this fiscal year. And our expenditures are coming in below budget by around $440,000. So when you have those two items combined, that means that we are ahead of budget a little over $600,000.
Happy day.
Yeah. Our property taxes came in $250,000 above projections. I was concerned that we would not even be able to collect what we had budgeted, but we ended up collecting more. And we still have to wait and see for what the income tax brings. We will get the final settlement for the year at the end of this month. So hopefully I'll be able to include that in the forecast. But then you have on the financial report the normal financial statements that I usually have for you, and the charts, and the reconciliations. And we have all funds, we have $7.3 million in the bank, and then the last pages are all the fund balances of all the funds that we have.
Tammy, a year ago, as we were really sort of wondering exactly where the revenues were all going to go, and I think everybody was in a bit of turmoil about all of this, the date for filing our income tax got pushed back to July. This time I think it's been pushed back a month, 2 months?
Yes, it has.
So is that going to affect, do you anticipate that we might not actually get what we might ultimately wind up getting by the end of the month?
True. I think it will affect it a little bit. I don't think it will affect it as much as it did last year because of how far back they pushed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yes, I mean, it's, this has been a really challenging year financially, in part because of all the uncertainty of where our revenues were going to go. But, you know, once again, it seems to me that you've managed the budget here with a very steady hand, and I appreciate that very much.
Here, here.
Yes.
Questions for Tammy on that? Well, then I'm going to move on to item 4, the adoption of the financial portion of our consent calendar. This has one item, item 4.1. Do I have a motion to approve this, please?
Second.
Who moved? Who seconded? I can't see you.
TJ and Aida.
Okay. I just want to go over this really briefly. The general fund, we increased that appropriation by $45,000 in case we have to make a transfer to the cafeteria fund in order to bring it into the black. We're still monitoring that. We've received donations for the track project, $36,000, so I wanted to budget that. The other two are normal routine business. And then the last one, $247,000, is the second round of ESSER money that we received. So we are using this to provide summer school. We've used it to get some plexiglass dividers for the students. The tents that you see around the buildings were paid with ESSER money. And then, did I mention summer school? Summer school.
Yep.
Did I forget anything, Terry?
That's a lot of it right now.
So that's ESSER 2, and then we anticipate getting another round of ESSER money, ESSER 3. That should be a larger amount, but we're not sure when we're going to receive that.
And certainly thanks to those who have donated to the track project, and we are still, I think, on target to complete that work in May. Yeah, so great, that's terrific. Questions about any of this? Go ahead and call the roll then, please.
Fairhaven,
Yes.
Ellison,
Yes.
McQueen,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Khan.
Yes. Thank you, and then we'll move to item number 5, our superintendent's report and recommendations.
Thank you. I'm going to start, and I'm going to pick up where Michelle and Jack left off, and that is knock on this little wood plaque. 4 days into the first week, we have had an amazing start. Stephanie and I did lunch duty and recess duty for several days this week, and it was just, first of all, there's nothing like the sound of children playing. And so that was good, and then, in here, grades K through 3E, and where you see the squares and triangles, those are spots for students to sit. And so they all know, we try to limit talking because masks are off, and then we either play, Joe Franny has some very nice either classical or light jazz, or they watch educational videos. And you just watch them, and they're eating and watching, and Michelle in the past to open my fruit for me, or it's just been a pleasure. And then the upper grades kind of eat outside. Everybody's outside for recess, so that's been a joy. Hopefully what's evident is the planning that has gone into this, because it really has consumed us. I'm not sure the public knows the amount of time it takes just to get this lid off. But I'm going to show you some pictures, but I want to publicly thank, first of all Jack and Michelle and the staff and the teachers who have worked so hard to make this happen. And I had one teacher on the Friday before Monday start crying. She's like, I'm so excited. I've been waiting for so long. She's like, they need to come. So that was just, got me emotional. So I want to really thank them. And then I want to thank the custodial staff, the district custodial staff, and the transportation staff. Transportation, and I talked to both of these groups before we came back, and I said, really, this is on your shoulders, because you are the girders that hold all of us up. So they have worked hard, making sure we have everything, being around at lunch, providing PPE and sanitation supplies. Bus drivers have been working hard to it's really like the first day and first bus routes, even though we were running some during hybrid. And then I want to thank Craig Carter and Jeff Eilert, because they have been working long hours. I drove by on Saturday to the high school where they were putting up the tent, and both of them looked like they had like the 5 o'clock shadow, and it was about 9:30 a.m. And I'm like, you guys look rough. But they have done nothing but run around and make sure everything is set. So I really want them to be recognized publicly. Stephanie, you have pictures? So I'm just going to walk you through this so that you can see some of it. We do have some of it online, but so these are the air filters that we had, but they're all over. every space. We did purchase water bottles for every student that they can write their names on, so in case a student did not have one, we have one here. Because we turned off the fountains, but we did get bottle fillers. Yeah, which is more environmentally friendly. Here's the entrance at Mills Lawn. So in the morning, Charlene Cantrell, our nurse, and John Godor at the door, taking temperatures, and the kids know the routine by now, I can tell you. Oops, sorry, this is a classroom in just maybe art. No.
Yes.
I can't. Either I can see without my glasses, or I cannot see with my glasses on. So kindergarten classroom, you can see the dividers, so they work well. They're in many spaces, but not every space, and it really depended upon how we could situate the children. Here's a round table, media center, plexiglass. This is at the, I think, middle school.
I think you skipped the kindergarten
Kindergarten
classroom.
I skipped some, what?
It was the art, and then it was the kindergarten.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay, now round table. Then the media center. This, I think, is a middle school classroom. It's like looking at somebody from the feet up. Right? This is Jo Franny's classroom, where she has circles, so students have identified spots to sit for music class. There are the paw prints on the floor here in Mills Lawn, and directional arrows. Again, this is this very space we are in right now, with marked spots for students. This is a classroom here. I'm not sure whose. Looks like maybe a 3rd or 4th grade classroom. One of the tents at Mills Lawn has 4 tents. So you see one here, one kind of, you turn the corner onto limestone, and then 2 around the back. These are the markers on the floor at the high school. High school science class, where we were able to space out the lab tables. And then the tent at the high school. So these tents, I think that's the last one.
Yeah.
These tents will be present through the end of the school year. I do want to say we did have a notice go into the YS News, so thanks to the news. Particularly at this site, from 8 to 3, this is indeed a school. And so what was a little concerning to me during recess the other day was I saw residents walking dogs, not only walking dogs, but walking dogs off leash. And there are kids in front of me playing. I'm like, I'm not sure I can get there fast enough. Nothing happened. But this is a school and we need the space for our children. So after 3 on weekends, please enjoy. We would love that. We would love it. One more thing about back to school. Tina Degenevic, our high school nurse, is really she and I have had many conversations. She is my health person. So it all routes through her. And we do have a nurse here, but it all routes through Tina. And then Jeff Irick is the paper person. Because there's a health piece and the paper piece, and they're intimately tied together for reporting purposes and that. So fingers crossed, and if we all continue to take the measures that we've taken, both in school and out of school and on the weekends, I think we can have a successful 2 months and the school year on a positive note. So that's our return to school. So next, I included it as a document, and Stephanie can present it, but I'm not sure it's worth presenting because it's multiple pages, and that is our extended learning plan. We are required, I'm going to say, it is recommended that every district submit an extended learning plan. And so what that is, districts are given a template, you share your URL with you have Department of Education and you post it on your website, which we did. This is a plan that goes from now until the end of FY23. So it's multi-year. Why do we have this plan? 2 reasons. One, that it makes sense to me is how do we make sure we are attending the gaps that students might have from being virtual for so long, or kind of not used to what they have had in the past. The other is really a compliance piece to make sure that we are spending our funds wisely. So the way it's structured is it's this spring, then summer, then the next school year, then summer, then the next school year, then summer. So ours pretty much follows a pattern. During the school year, we're going to do our benchmark assessments, and we're moving from the one we've used for a while to a different one, which is actually more powerful, called MAP, Measures of Academic Progress. And we're going to work through that data, that benchmark data, and monitor students next year. But before then, summer school. So we pushed out a survey to parents about summer school and their interest in summer school, and I have talked about this before. It was about reading tutoring, math tutoring, kind of, I'm going to say an SEL umbrella, which could also include what we're calling experiential learning. So outdoor education, probably partnered with the area, music education, art. So that's the goal. 4 weeks, June 7th through right before July 4th. Here's the problem, and we are not alone in facing this problem. I was at an HR director meeting today, and I have a superintendent's meeting next week, and I'm sure I'm going to hear the same thing next week that I heard today. Districts can't get teachers to teach summer school. And you know what? I get it. Everybody is tired. So, here's what we'll do. Here's the pivot we'll do. If that's the case, I think we might be able to run the experiential pieces. And we'll run the experiential pieces, and then perhaps in August, or after school in a tutoring format, somehow try to address that. The discussion today was, in the end, if you don't have teachers to teach the children, you just can't make it happen. And for all I know, even though we surveyed parents, the students may be tired as well. I mean, it's been a difficult year.
Yeah.
But just know that this is our plan. It is designed to be flexible, and it will change, and it's designed that way. So what we will do is change it, and we'll continuously update it on the website. And then finally, in my update, 2 more pieces. I want to show a little presentation, just so we can get it recorded, so that the public can see it, and that is our strategic plan, and this I indeed have talked to you about before. So I won't spend an inordinate amount of time on it, but we have actually been talking about academics a lot more now that we're back into this environment. So, okay. So this is, what's our mission? We want to challenge each student and help each student live up to their potential and contribute to the community. Go ahead, Steph. All right, so we really have 4 goals. Improve teaching and learning, become an equitable organization, create a strong culture, and work collaboratively with the community. We've done these things all along, perhaps not the equitable piece so publicly, but that is what we are attempting to do and have been working on all year. So those 4 are big, and they will frame our work. This is designed to go for until 2024. So this is Ohio's Each Child, Our Future. This is their the Ohio Department of Education strategic plan. And what the blue arrows indicate are places where our strategic plan ties into the vision that the state of Ohio has for K-12 education. And so you can see under 4 learning domains, that's all about teaching and learning. And we have our first strategy is about teaching and learning and improving academic outcomes for children. Under 3 core principles, it's equity, partnerships, and quality schools. And again, that matches our goals, and so I feel pretty confident that whatever we do here can be aligned with any expectation that the state has for what we do as a district. Not that that's our primary focus, but we will be aligned. And so here's that first strategy, improve teaching and learning for students. Prior to COVID, when I was speaking with teachers, our focus was on our achievement outcomes and project-based learning. And how we were going to revisit that so that we could make what we do stronger so that kids could grow and that experience would be better for them. So we still have that. This assumes a foundation of project-based learning, but we have these student learning competencies. So content mastery. You know, and think that these go K-12. So all of these would apply to every grade level. Content mastery. Effective communication, that's both written and oral communication. Critical thinking and creativity. Collaboration, leadership and character. And then agency, that, I think the old responsibility, owning your own learning, knowing what to do when you don't get it. So those are our student learning competencies. I've met with all staff members and the principals, and Donna and I have met several times about this to talk about this plan. And I presented these. And so their work now is, how will we do this? And how will this be measured, right? How will we know that what we're doing is actually addressing those student learning competencies? So that's the first goal. The second is become a more equitable organization. So I'm going to start with 365 project. We are trying to work, first of all, we've developed an anti-racism team here in the district. We've met really probably 4 times, only 4 times. Through that work, we've been trying to partner with Project 365 for courageous conversations. We've not been able to get that off the ground for lots of just logistical reasons, but that is still on the table and is not going away. What we have been able to do, though, is partner with NCCJ, Greater Dayton. The district has worked with them before. I think the last time we met, we talked about Spidey came out of work with NCCJ. And so they're going to present Diversity 101 to all district teachers. Initially, we were going to do all district staff for Wednesdays, but the priority was get back to school. So next Friday, our PD day, they are coming in, and all teachers will go through this training, and then I will work next year to get all of the staff this training. So this is really just the start of our work. Create a strong culture. How do we really examine and make public what we believe in and use those beliefs to drive our day-to-day? And then how do we continue to work collaboratively with our community? Because I think that's a strong point. We have a very supportive community, and we want to continue that and grow that and kind of nourish those relationships. And that is really kind of strategically, in a nutshell, where we're going. We've discussed this, I think, in more detail, but I wanted to make sure everyone saw that, because this will take us into next year. It's a little bit on paper, but a lot in reality.
Yep.
And then I have one more piece of my update, and that is a facilities update. There has been a survey that has been sanctioned by the district as part of our master facility planning work that probably has just ended. It is a data point for us as we meet again. The community advisory team has a meeting next week, and we are close to making a recommendation to the board. But that work does continue.
Well, that wasn't very much. You got anything else? Wow, that's extraordinary. So first to say again, just to thank you for I want to emphasize what you said. I don't even think the board fully understands just how much work went into getting kids back into the world. And so we will thank all of the people that you thank as well, everybody from administrators and teachers to our custodial staff and bus drivers and whatnot. Yeah, it all worked seamlessly because an enormous number of people did an enormous amount of work. So thank you for all of that. The strategic plan, yeah, it's we have been talking about this, so I'm really glad that it has now been there and it can be out there so people can take a look at it. Terry, is it fair to say that we might have a recommendation from the facilities group by the end of this month?
Yes, so
Okay.
it would most likely necessitate a special meeting.
A special meeting,
for
right.
approval. Even though timing never works out.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye out for
Correct.
relatively soon.
Correct.
Great. Other questions for Terry?
I mean, I just have a comment, I guess, about the organizations that you're working with. Project 365 and CCPA, and there's, given their history, I think those are great choices, places we have relationships with, places and leaders of those organizations that know our community, and then quite a few of our high school students and ones graduated the last several years also had really meaningful experience with the NCCA and town, which is still around in like an abbreviated form, but so
You want to say just out loud what NCCJ stands for, just so that the people watching know?
National Conference on Community and Justice. Yes.
Update.
Upgrade.
Okay.
Correct.
It is a national.
yeah.
Great organization.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. We'll move now to item 6, which is the adoption of the administration portion of our consent calendar. This is 6.1 through 6.3. Can I have a motion?
Whatever.
I think I got here and I got here. I think Sylvia and then DJ. There you go. I think.
So board, I asked that, there are just a few, and I'm just going to run through them quickly. We approve our annual contract with the Greene County Educational Service Center as presented in the estimated amount of $250,000. We have a strong relationship with them and that will continue. 6.2 is our contract with Mavecca for our managed broadband services. That is a 3-year contract. I asked for your approval. I do want to make a comment, however, so that when folks watch this, when we upload it to YouTube, this issue, it's always our intention to be able to live stream meetings. Now that we're back in public, the public can certainly come and we would love that. But it's always our intent to live stream meetings. But if I remember, even when I first came, we've always had tech issues.
Oh, yeah.
And then it became even more noticeable to me during the facility Zooms when some residents would just, you can just see it. It's the lag, And I think that is just a symptom of the village's larger internet issues. So hopefully, you know, with work that I know Rebecca is doing with the village and with us, we can get better, better broadband.
And also, everybody needs to learn to turn their camera off too. My helpful hint for the evening.
Camera off.
Safety a lot
Thank
of
you,
times.
Eloise.
Yeah, and then anything, you know, we know trees get in the way, and so,
We'll cut them down.
and weather,
Don't say that, Carol.
and weather, so,
Yeah, yeah.
And then finally, 6.3, district honors and recognitions. You know, we cannot do this work without the support of others. So I recommend that the board accept the following donations with great appreciation. A donation through the Yellow Springs Community Foundation to the Athletic Fund from Heather Lamont, and a donation from the Yellow Springs High School class of 1995 in memory of January 30th, who was the late daughter of John Gudgel and Kathy Gudgel. And then the Yellow Springs Community Foundation awarded the school district the 2021 philanthropy, they awarded us it's not the only one, 2021 philanthropy award for COVID nonprofit pivot, and deposited $300 into the gallery fund.
Well,
So again, we cannot do it without generous support of others.
yep. And thank you to everybody, because we get to accept these just about every month, which is a testimony to that generosity and community spirit. We call the roll on that?
Allison,
Yes.
McQueen,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Hemming.
Yes.
Okay, now the personnel part of the consent calendar, item 7, and I think there's only one, some personnel schedules to approve. 7.1 motion.
So moved.
Second.
I got McQueen, and then I got Mohammed. It's like we should have buzzers, you know?
Yeah, we did Jeopardy.
Okay, board, I ask that you approve Schedule A, resignations and retirements, Schedule B, certificated staff, Schedule C, support staff, Schedule D, policy staff, Schedule E, extracurricular and supplemental, Schedule F, volunteer, and Schedule H, FMLA as presented.
Questions? Roll call.
McQueen,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Hemming,
Yes,
Allison.
Yes.
Wonderful. We'll go to the board communication portion of our agenda, number 8. And so let's hear about things at the Career Center, please.
Well, this is one of the few times in a month where it starts on Thursday. So
Oh, of course.
But the only thing that I have gotten recently was our numbers have doubled this year for the Career Center.
Wow.
Even for Yellow Springs, it went from 4 to 9. But there was a lot of people that showed up, and it seems like a lot of people applied and got accepted already. So we're extremely excited about that.
And I'm going to assume that Dave is attributing some of this to the new building.
Oh, that's hands down, new building.
Yeah.
A bit of it being COVID and sort of a lot of job moving and sort of, because our adult classes were like tip capacity with
Really?
lines out the door. Yeah.
Wow.
Or waivers as, and so there's a lot of that too with the numbers as well. But I think vocation has just sort of become that option, another option.
Terrific. Yeah, I had forgotten that we're all scheduled this month because of just the way the calendar fell.
One more time.
I said, I forgot we were all scheduled this month because of the way the calendar
The
fell.
way-
Yeah, so we're being laid off as a reason.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like-
Right.
Because April 1st was
Thursday.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
right. Good. Other board member items?
what do you think? So, you want to go?
And Anita and I just realized, like glancing at each other, that we're a tag team hadn't planned this ahead, but, you know, it's kind of that time in the school board cycle where it's an election year, and, which means there'll be school board seats up for election in November. And I wanted to bring it up because 2 years ago, the Ohio School Board Association started this. Yeah, I just got the big printout. In 2019, the Ohio School Board Association developed kind of a separate website. It's very catchy. It's called getonboardohio.org. And it's the OSBA's effort to provide a place for people interested in serving on school board to find out what it really entails. And I feel strongly about this because I think usually people go to the Board of Elections, what you need to do to find out how you get on the ballot and how do you run and all that kind of thing. But what I really feel strongly about after quite a few years on school board is people first looking into what does it really mean to be on school board. What are your actual duties and responsibilities, and what are not your actual duties and responsibilities? And I feel strongly about this because I want to avoid unnecessary frustration that people may experience when they are thinking they want to seek school board election. So a few things I feel like I would like to offer as sort of my wisdom, take it or leave it. If you feel like you want to pursue a seat on the school board because you have a really focused, finite area of interest where you want to make big change, you're going to be frustrated. If you feel like you want to pursue a seat on the school board because you feel like as one member of the board, you have a lot of say and sway, you're going to be frustrated. And that's not a bad thing. It's really about learning what does it entail. If you're a seat on the school board, you're part of a body. The 5 school board members together are who have a charge to basically, hire an appropriate superintendent and treasurer to carry out their duties. To then communicate well back and forth and make sure that's all, being done well and above board and in a professional, appropriate manner, etc. And I just hate to see people feeling strongly about it. Like, my bad example is always, I want everyone to be taught cursive, so I'm going to get on the school board to make sure that happens. That would not be a good reason. Because that's not your job, it's not your role, and you'll be frustrated. So I want to encourage anyone who really is interested to first go to the getonboardohio.org website, which is hosted by the Ohio School Board Association. There's a lot of good stuff you can read there about what it really means to be a school board member, what your responsibilities are and what they really are not. And then we would all welcome, any one of us would welcome a conversation if someone wants to talk with us about our experience on school board. And I would really encourage people to do that if they feel like they're interested in running, as well as looking into the logistics of how you get on the ballot, but really understand what it means. Thank you, and now?
Well, I just want to encourage people to get on this, get on boardohio.org because it has this boatload of information. It has webinars. It has, different articles to read. And, I think I want to reiterate what Sylvia's saying. The position as a school board member is quite limited, I think, when you really get down to the brass tacks of this. We are a group of people who work together, and we work together in a very limited fashion. And we try to empower our superintendent, treasurer, administrators, and faculty. And that's what we do. We don't make decisions. It's the superintendent's responsibility to make those decisions. And I think it's confusing when people think about doing this. And as Sylvia said, if you have a particular area of expertise, that's wonderful, but you have to recognize that doesn't necessarily mean you get to exercise it. And it also, I think it's important to recognize it's a very rewarding job. But you also are part of, you're a board member, even when you're out in the community being a family member. You know, your position as a board sort of takes over much of one's life out in the community. So that's an important piece as well. It's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of commitment. But it is great rewarding work. And I want to encourage people to do it if they would like. And I would like people to talk to us, all of us, any of us, whatever. So, but this is a great website.
That was excellent. You didn't rehearse that?
No.
We did, I happened to glance over, she had it printed, and I had the page pulled up for my feed to do it, and then I was like, oh, look.
That was an outstanding public service announcement. So thank you very much, both of you, in two-part harmony. Other board member items? Okay. The board is going to go into an executive session. We will come out and adjourn. There will be no other items of business to vote on this evening. So can I have a motion, please, to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Here in the second McQueen. Can we have a roll call then, please?
Turner,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Ellison,
Yes.
McQueen.
Yes.
Thank you all very much for that. It is nice to be back, Carol. It's lovely to see you. I think I missed you last month. Well, at any rate, it's great to have you actually in 3